Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Bridgeside Sports, another edition, live from Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. My name is Philip Cagliostro. As always, I'm joined by Winella Colombano and Cristiano Lasventra. Again, we had another great weekend of sports behind us, so why don't we get right into it? I think, again, on the top of everyone's mind and in the plates is March Madness again. And so we talked about last week, we talked a little about March Madness, and we talked about how the games, there were no buzzer beaters for the first time for the first time since I think it was 2003. There were no buzzer beaters in the first couple of rounds. We finally got some buzzer beaters, and that's the bracket we're going to start with. We're going to start with the Wisconsin, the Florida, the East bracket. So I'm going to kick it to Win, see what he's got to say about the East bracket.
East bracket was the playoffs was unbelievable. This was kind of like I'll be the first person to say that during the regular season, March Madness, NCAA basketball, it can get a little stagnant. There are so many teams, and especially being when St. John's isn't they were better this year with Mullen, but when they're not like a powerhouse team, it's harder in in New York. But Wisconsin, Florida was awesome.
Yeah, and that was an
unbelievable game.
The good thing about that is that you talk about New York. They had the games in New York. Wisconsin, Florida was in the Garden. South Carolina was in the Garden.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw the game, but the South Carolina game was chanting, "We want Florida." They were saying to bring on Florida. I thought that was great because they were blowing them out, and they were calling for Florida to begin with.
Well, that's the SEC.
Exactly,
right
exactly.
The third time they played each other. But going back to Wisconsin, Florida, I know it happened, four days ago at this point, but
it's a great game.
Unbelievable game.
Did you see the 2 3-pointers?
Best game of the tournament so far.
It was up there. I mean, not only did Wisconsin come back and tie it up late, and you had Showalter with the pointing at Rogers. When I saw it live, I was like, it's a tie game.
Yeah.
It's a tie game. The game is not over. You tie it up. It's a great move. And if I have Aaron Rodgers in the stands, I'm probably pointing to him too.
Who became a Wisconsin fan all of us?
I know.
Guy with the cow.
But that was awesome. But I gotta say that last play, it was a play that happened, but I don't think should have.
What, the Florida 3-point?
The Florida 3-point when they won the game. I mean, Showalter hit the 3 to tie it up. Allen had a big game, 35 points. But, Chioza should not have been covered by a guy 6'8" running down the floor.
Yeah. He was just faster than him.
He's faster.
He outran him.
I understand you wanted to kind of deny and stuff, but he blew right by him.
Yeah.
He blew right by him. And he should not have had that look with 4 seconds left. Nobody stepped up. I know guys are afraid to foul, but hats off. It was an unbelievable shot. And it's a shame, but I shouldn't say shame, but they ended up.
Sometimes people mess up in the big game.
Yeah.
Yeah, people mess up,
especially young kids.
But I know, and you don't realize how young they are sometimes.
Right.
I know, but it's unbelievable. Now, it used to be like college was sold. Now I look at them and they're like. They're kids. You can see it in their face. They get nervous. They want to be the hero. But Florida ended up taking on South Carolina next game, and who blew out Baylor. Blew out Baylor in the Sweet 16.
I know.
Baylor was actually my pick.
Them.
I know I said last week to go into the.
Well, we all got that
East.
bracket wrong.
Yeah, I think the whole world got that bracket wrong.
Well, South Carolina's a great outside. But just to go, I think the Wisconsin shot, the shot to get into overtime was a tougher shot. He came off his right foot. It was a tough shot. And it always brings up the debate. Do you foul there or do you not foul there?
I'm a huge proponent of fouling.
They're down. You're up by 3.
Huge proponent
You're up
of
by
fouling.
3.
Yeah,
Why give him the 3-point shot? Foul him with 2 seconds left. Do it right. Don't foul him while he's going up for the shot.
Right. Everybody knows what they're afraid of. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Everybody's afraid of fouling somebody. And it's hitting and taking
hits,
free.
It's a 4-point play, or it's just 3, or it's just 3 free throws.
But in college, you kind of want to. I guess you like we said, they're younger kids. They may not be as experienced as the pros. You don't want them fouling at the wrong time. So I kind of get it. In the NBA, maybe a little different. But why give them a chance at that shot when you don't have to? Even if you fouled before the inbound, you hold them a little bit.
People are afraid to make mistakes, in such a big game.
It's part of the game, though. You got to play the game the right way. But I don't want to spend too much time. I know South Carolina played. I know they're going to be playing. For the Final Four, they ended up beating Florida.
Yeah, and they're playing Gonzaga to kind of transition to that bracket. What the great thing about this Final Four is Gonzaga and South Carolina, first time ever in the Final Four. So now you're definitely going to get first time ever in the national championship. Oregon in the Final Four. They were in the Final Four the very first time there was a NCAA tournament.
They were only 18. Yeah. 1939.
They won one game. They were in the Final Four. and now they're in the Final Four again, and UNC's in the most of all time. So we got South Carolina versus Gonzaga.
All ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, we got South Carolina versus Gonzaga.
Can I just say that the Gonzaga, I know we're going back to Sweet 16 a little bit, but the Gonzaga-West Virginia game was one of the best games in the tournament also.
That was a great game.
You know, it was the same night, I think, as the Wisconsin-Florida game, if I'm not mistaken. But those were awesome games, and the last shot of the game, the defense was awesome by Gonzaga.
It was awesome.
They would not let Carter get that ball off.
You gotta get it off.
He took 3 threes.
He took 3
of them. Well, actually, he didn't take the last one. He dumped it off real quick.
I know. And then he got a shot off. And then he got a shot off. He dumped it off about 1 second left. He dribbled around way too much. I know it was good defense. He dribbled around way too much.
But for once, I see guys step over the screens. They came out. They didn't let him underneath.
It's kind of like what Kevin Love did to Steph Curry last year in the finals, if you remember the end of Game 7. I know I'm throwing it back to the NBA, but Kevin Love played great defense on Curry. But anyway, yeah, they came out, they played. But you gotta put the ball up, you pass it, get rid of it quicker. But that was a great game.
Yeah.
But I think that threw off, and Weber was flipping out with the call. Took about 4.5 minutes
to
look at
the. What did they look at? I know these refs don't want to make a mistake. But come on, it took 35 seconds. Weber was going crazy, and I don't even blame him. I don't even blame him. You know, you're playing the game like you're all pumped up. Your adrenaline's going. Then you got to sit there. The whole world knew what call it was.
Exactly. But then he came up and hit a good shot. The guy Gonzaga. Yeah,
Matthews came bang 3 right between the eyes.
Right after sitting there.
Wouldn't you say this is a long time coming for Gonzaga though?
It is. I completely agree with you. They used to be the darlings.
Right.
Used to be the darlings.
And then slowly but surely over the years,
making Sweet 16 going. Then they got better and better.
Right.
And then they became the
overrated
team. Now they're overrated team. Never make it. Underrated to over it. Now they're finally in the Final Four. I'm glad to see
now I think they got a legit shot.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the actual Final Four. That's going on right now.
Well, let's finish off then. We got South Carolina, Gonzaga on that side of the bracket.
And we have to go to UNC Kentucky because I know you said you thought Wisconsin Florida might have been the best game. The only argument I've had would be UNC Kentucky, man. Mm-hmm. That game, they were going back and forth the whole game. Nobody let each other out of the way. Then
Close
they had
game.
And it was the 25th. It was the 25th anniversary of Leitner hitting the shot against Kentucky for Duke in '92, and now he had this another heartbreaking loss.
Have you ever seen the 30 for 30 on Leitner?
Yeah, I hate Christian Leitner.
That's fantastic. Yeah. You don't realize just how deep it goes into the hatred for him.
He got it bad, man.
I think this is UNC's year, though. I think after losing to Villanova last year,
they've been my pick since the beginning. The guy, Chris Jenkins, the guy who hit the game-winning shot against UNC, was at the game of UNC Kentucky to watch Faye hit the shot against to send them into 0.3 seconds. What
I know, it's amazing.
I don't know how you guys feel about the strategy, but I like the strategy of Kentucky knocked down the 3 to tie the game. About 7, 8 seconds left, no timeout. I love that strategy. I think
Roy Williams is kind of known for that.
They have a timeout. They had the timeout before. That stops your play. You tell your players, look, that shot goes in, keep it going. Because you got to have that. It's natural. You're talking about how young they are. Natural that they hit that shot and they got that split second celebrating. So happy that they had the shot.
Little momentum,
let it go, right? Yep. And then they rushed it right down. And what happened? He had an open shot and he knocked it down.
Well, Kentucky came back, like their coach. Kentucky's always good. And I'm a big proponent of when you have young guys in colleges, it all comes down to coaching. It's no coincidence that the
top coaches always
the same teams are always there. Whether it's Izzo sometimes gets nobody in Michigan State, yet they're always in the tournament.
Yeah.
And even when they're not, I heard this year they weren't supposed to be in.
Yeah.
They still won a game.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing over and over again. And there's a reason. It's like that line in Rounders. When Matt Damon goes, why do you think luck has nothing to do with it? Why do you think the same people are in the final table every year over and over?
Well, that's poker. Poker's a little...
I know, but
does have to
there's still a reason that the same people are there. No,
absolutely. Basketball in general, I think coaching has a lot to do with it. Whether it's NBA, NCAA, whatever you're talking about, coaching means a lot.
I think NCAA is a little bit more, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're younger kids, it's hard to control them as much as an NBA team. Actually... What am I saying? Sometimes the NBA teams are hard to control too. They're animals sometimes.
Well, when you get paid more than your boss, and that's pretty much every sport, you got to be saying to yourself, all right, who's more valuable, me or this guy? And you really have to have good chemistry. Yeah. You have to give chemistry. But I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let's kick it back. So let's want to do our Final Four preview?
I want to go straight to predictions.
Predictions,
I know
Chris. What
Chris
you got?
has been looking. You got.
Well, I'm still a little
South
pissed
Carolina.
off about Kansas.
I told you, Oregon.
Yeah, we both
You
had
did,
Oregon
you did
here.
say Oregon. I mean, they look great, obviously.
Oregon,
Jordan Bell on the board
Oregon,
is great.
Jordan
Oregon.
Bell almost had triple-double.
I know.
With 8 blocks. He almost got triple-double blocks. He's athletic.
Yeah, he's
and I
a
tell you,
beast.
that guy Dorsey had a bunch of big shots against Kansas.
Yep.
Tough three-pointers. 6 for 10.
He had 26
I think he
points.
was 6 for 10 from the three-point line.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Oregon shoots great threes. And in college basketball, three-pointer is always big because it's a little bit closer.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
Who do you got UNC Oregon then?
You know what? Since I want to say Oregon because they beat Kansas, and I want the team that beat Kansas to win it all. But I think it's UNC's year. Like I said before, I think they're just a little better if they can control the pace of the game. Because Oregon, they have great shooters across the board. They're a little more faster paced than UNC. UNC's bigger. I think if Kennedy Meeks on UNC can beat out Jordan Bell for rebounds down in the boards, I think UNC could take this game, and I think they will take this game. So,
All right.
I'm looking at UNC going through there.
So you got Gonzaga, South Carolina.
Oh, also me?
Yeah.
I think this one's going to go to Gonzaga. I think South Carolina had a miracle run. The last time they won a game in the NCAA tournament was 1973, I believe.
A long time ago, yeah.
They're a 7 seed. Listen, they could win, but I just don't see it. Gonzaga looks too good right now. I think, it's time for them to at least make the final. I think it'll be Gonzaga, UNC in the final.
And you have UNC beating them?
UNC beat them, that's
How
right.
about you win? You teased us last year.
I teased us last week. I'm gonna go UNC, but I'm gonna go South Carolina. Their defense is too good. They're tenacious. They're ranked the 7th seed, and you say to yourself, "Wow, 7's gonna beat a 1," but they beat the 2, 3, and 4 in the East. So they're doing something right.
So you saying South Carolina?
I think South Carolina's gonna win if only if they can control Karnowski. He's 7 feet. He's a big dude. He sees the floor well. He's a good passer. He's got a decent little jump shot. He's got great footwork for a big guy. But if they can control him, I think South Carolina's going to win that game. And on the flip side, like I said, I'm going to go UNC, South Carolina, and I think the experience for UNC.
Who do you have on your bracket in the final?
Actually, in the bracket I started before the tournament, I actually have 3 out of 4. I had Oregon, UNC, Gonzaga, and in the top left, I had Villanova in the East. Nice. But I got 3 out of 4, Final Four.
You got 3. Yeah, South Carolina is tough to predict.
I'm in second place out of 85.
Good for you.
It's good.
I got UNC as well. I've had UNC to win the title since the beginning of my bracket. I have UNC. I'm also so we're all in agreement with that. I'm also going to go South Carolina. I think they're going to ride the wave.
Okay.
And I'm also going to have UNC winning. But to switch gears, that's our March Madness, little predictions. Next week we'll be on during the national title game, so we could have a little live
UNC
updates.
Oregon
Talk
should be a
about the
great
Final
game,
Four.
though, too.
I think they're all going. I think they're
Great
both
game.
going to be great games. There was a little bit breaking news, you want to say, or a little bit hot news in the NFL today.
NFL today.
So we had the owners voted on Las Vegas, the Raiders. So the Raiders have been talking about it for a couple of weeks. I'm talking about since last year with the whole Los Angeles move that they kind of got spurned out of Los Angeles move and ended up being the Chargers and the Rams.
Right.
So they had Las Vegas on the back burner. So now the vote was 31-1. The Raiders are going to move to Las Vegas. I know Chris has some hot opinions on it.
Go
so
ahead,
let
you
him
talk
kick.
first because I don't want to get all amped up right away.
All right, so you want me to just amp you up a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, I'll amp you up. I got to say, this was quite surprising. I know it was in the works, but this isn't, this isn't the St. Louis Rams. This is the Oakland Raiders. They've been around a long time.
Right.
They've been around a long, long time. Their stadium is known as the Black Hole. Teams don't
Their fans are nuts.
Teams do not want to go and play there, and they've always had a strong home field advantage.
Right.
All right.
And a history.
Yes. They have a long-standing history. But I know we spoke about this a little bit off there. They're one of the few teams who I'm sorry, they're the only team that share with a baseball team.
Yep.
Are they the only team?
They're
now?
the only
it
team.
Used to be Miami.
There were quite a number of teams that did it, but they're like the only team still that shares. And to be honest, that stadium, I know people. I've never been there myself, but I know people have gone there and said it's horrendous. It's old. It's big. It's not like close knit. And look at all these new stadiums that are being built around the NFL and Major League Baseball. I mean, Camden Yards is kind of an old stadium. And I think it was open like 93. It's like 20-something years old.
Beautiful, too.
And it's really nice. But the same thing can be said for
How old
football.
is the Coliseum?
Oh, the LA Coliseum's old, very old. But they don't play in the Coliseum. They play in Oakland. They play where the A's play.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, with that being said, I think that was a huge problem of why they wanted to move. They wanted a new stadium. They get huge revenue from the stadium, but, they didn't want to kick in the money.
I completely agree with you. I think it's great.
You think it's great?
Oakland's got to step up. Exactly what
Wait, you didn't say it was great, did you?
Well, I'm going to say it's great.
You said I completely
I'm
agree
going
with
to
you.
say it's great. I agree with him before. I'm going to say it's great because I agree with him. Oakland's got to step up, man. They're the only team that shares the stadium. Everything I heard. This is the only team. You're running down the field. You got David Carr throwing a pass to Amari Cooper, and he trips over dirt. What's going on? It's the only team that's going to have that happen. And they've been talking about this for years. They've moved before. And I don't know, did Oakland not take it seriously? Did maybe, I don't know the financials of it all.
Right.
But Las Vegas just got the hockey team.
Right.
So now they have another team. And what team fits to go to Las Vegas better than the Las Vegas Raiders? Come on. That's
Vegas
great.
Right
that is great. You're telling me that all those fans can't easily move to Vegas and not move there, but the black hole fans, that fits perfectly in Vegas.
I don't think they will. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Their history known as having outlaws on their team, having people that nobody
it makes
wanted.
Sense, right? The
so
name and
perfect
everything.
Sense. It makes
I got
perfect
that.
sense in Vegas.
But you can't blame. The thing is, I feel bad for the fans because, I understand the ownership and Oakland. They didn't do what's right for their fans. Yeah, right. So obviously they're at fault there, and it's disappointing really because the fans deserve better than that. I mean, they've been loyal and die hard for years. The Raiders have been bad for years until recently. Yeah. And as long back as since Gruden was coaching, and the year after when they went to the Super Bowl against Gruden, against Tampa Bay, was that 2003?
2002,
right?
Bill Callahan,
yeah.
Right. So
they knew all the plays. The Buccaneers knew all the
plays. All
plays.
those years after that, they were bad, horrible, and still the fans came out. Kind of like Cleveland Browns. So they're diehard fans.
I know.
It's not right to them, and I feel bad. And it just takes away from the mystique and the aura of the Raiders because, black and silver.
Well, I don't think they'll change the colors.
No, I know, but black and silver, you think of Oakland, you think of the black hole, you think of,
They have moved before, though.
There's a long time ago.
When we were kids, there was the L.A. Rams and the L.A. Raiders.
Yeah. I know
right?
this.
Okay. And I remember...
How old? I mean, what year was this?
I'm probably like 6 years old. This was like early 90s, 92, 93, like that. I remember when they were the L.A. Raiders and the L.A. Rams, and then all of a sudden there were no L.A. teams. And when you think about,
big
the
markets.
NFL and big markets, how do you not have a team in L.A.?
Yeah, what happened?
Made no sense. Now they have two.
Now they have two.
And one in Vegas.
And one in Vegas. Now, we didn't touch on this yet. I know this is a really big topic, but the gambling.
Yeah.
How, there's a reason there are no pro teams in Vegas.
NFL could pretend all they want that.
Come on, man. Come
gambling
on.
NFL thrives on.
NFL thrives on gambling and fantasy. There's no other way to
fantasy
put it.
Helps gambling.
I mean,
DFS especially.
Yeah. Come on. Let's be real here. UNLV is
the Running Rebels.
10 minutes from the Strip. Their college.
Okay.
You don't think Larry Johnson, as a college kid, if you're on UNLV, you don't think I'm not getting paid? Heck, I know we're going to kill this team tonight. Oh, let me go put some money. You don't think that happens?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure it does, but
you don't think that happens? What? I don't know about Larry Johnson. I'm saying that team. When they were studs, Imagine, would you? Larry. Grandma, let me go put $100,000. But you know what I'm saying? That's going to be a huge problem. And I hope it's not, but Vegas now is more, and we've all been there, it's more almost like a family type place. There's
except for the Strip.
There's things for kids. People go, they bring their
shows.
kids.
But that's the other thing.
So I understand why they want to put a team there, but you can't discount the fact that you're in Las Vegas in a strictly, not a strictly, but in a gambling.
But
place.
I don't mean
go
to
there to gamble.
I don't mean to interject, but so this is going to come down to it. The NFL or not the NFL, how they feel about gambling. Though now that they have a team in Vegas, there is. Nevada gaming regulations allows the sporting governing bodies to request that the legal sports books prohibit taking bets from any team that plays in Nevada, and that includes away and home games.
So all Las Vegas Raiders.
So the NFL can request that Las Vegas sportsbooks do not take any bets on the Las Vegas Raiders.
No matter where they play.
No matter where they play, all 16 games. So when that comes, and that request can be down the road, because look, they still have 2 more year options in Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be 100%. I wouldn't be crazy surprised if
Something happened.
something happened. I'm just saying. Well, there's 2 years.
fans might be
They need a
outraged.
new stadium in Las
Yeah.
Vegas because I think there's only like a 35,000 seat. I mean, the Rays aren't going to move for 35,000 seats. They need something like 65. And they have a proposal to build that in like 2020.
Right.
What's going to happen till then? They're going to stay in Oakland till then. Let's see if something happens. But they can't stay in that stadium, man. I think that's what it
can't.
comes
I
down
get
to.
what it comes
that.
down to.
You
It's a
know,
shame for the fans.
It's a shame, right?
It's a shame for the fans, but I think it was a move. They
But
kind of
that's-
got
but
forced
that's-
to.
that's
They
the
kind
other
of got
thing I wanted
forced
to say is that Las Vegas, okay? Like you say, oh, maybe it's a family, whatever it is, but there's no true die-hard fans
No,
in
it's
Vegas,
going to be a
dude.
tourist. It's going to be
Yeah.
a tourist. There's going to be people
The
like
games are going to
us.
be like a Mardi Gras. It's not going to be a...
They're going to be people like us who are big fans of other teams who are playing them. Like, yo, you want to go to Vegas for the weekend?
Right,
Yeah,
so
but
you're going to have
San-
50% of the fans is really the away team's fans.
I don't
It's
know
going to be an
about 50, but
embarrassment.
yeah.
But it's going to be close, and it's not going to be... It's going to be... I'm telling you, it's not
Yeah,
going to be good.
but don't you
It's not
think the
gonna be
reason
good.
there are no diehard fans because there was never any team there? Why don't we give it a chance? If there's a couple of teams and now you got 2 professional sports teams, maybe they'll start building some diehard
don't
fans.
know.
There was never a team in Las Vegas. How could you say they never had diehard teams? We're from New York. We got 9 local teams if we wanted to.
Half the people in Vegas are...
How do you know people live in
half
Vegas?
the-
People live in Nevada.
I know, but half the people in Vegas aren't going to care as much, and they're just going to gamble anyway. And the other half's
mean,
broke,
that's
and they can't even go to the game. So you're going
that's
to
a
have all
massive
tourists.
assumption.
You're gonna
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be probably 50% tourists. If I'm there in Vegas and the Giants are playing Oakland, and I say, yeah, you want to go to Vegas?
They'll be Vegas. They won't be Oakland.
First of all, I would not go to I honestly wouldn't even go to a Las Vegas Raiders game if I was in Vegas. I want to go gamble. I want to go party. I don't want to go to a Raiders game.
Well, you just said the football games are going to be like Mardi Gras, so go party at the
Well,
football
I mean,
game.
other people will go and do it.
Nah,
but
you
I
would
wouldn't
go.
do that.
You would go.
I don't know if I'd
it's
go.
3 hours in a day.
I'd go
mean,
if you
like-
gave me a free ticket. Yeah, I'd go. I'd rather go gamble.
So someone get Venture a free ticket to a Las Vegas Raiders game in a few years. But
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm gonna cut you off.
I'm sorry. I'm just, a little bit.
don't have
it's
to be
just
sorry
a-
about it.
It might be a little bit of embarrassment.
the
That's
fans
all right.
always
It's
look. The
embarrassing.
fans always get the short end of the stick. But I don't know about the assumption that there's going to be no fans in Vegas. I think
No,
it's
there'll
going to
be
be
fans in
hot.
stadiums.
If that team is good going into Vegas, which they look like they are, you'll have.
They're gonna be good.
You'll have
Ours
good.
excellent.
Exactly. You'll have
Well, they
good,
got how many years now?
Exactly.
2 years to build a
Yeah,
fan base?
you'll have good attendance there, and then you'll be good. Winning breeds attendance.
How far is Oakland, I wonder, from
I'd
Las
probably say
Vegas
7,
by
8
car?
hours. 7, 8 hours.
7, 8 hours by
would
car?
think.
I guess.
I have no.
I
I
guess
have
good
no
old
geography
Google.
major.
I guess
in-
good
I
old
know
Google.
LA is like 2.5, 3 hours from Vegas.
Nah, it's more than that. I think.
I think LA's or San Diego, one of those two.
There you go.
Is
First thing
2
that pops up, Oakland 2, and it says Las Vegas.
Well,
Google
that's a hot
Magic.
topic.
Let's see. Come on, I don't want flights.
All right.
These gonna be flights.
We're talking about driving here.
It's an hour and a half.
All right,
It's an hour and a
fine
half hour
this.
flight.
All right.
I'll find
Oh,
the
that's
Fine
a
that,
flight.
and
so
we're
you're
moving
talking
on.
about probably
Yeah.
4 or 5 plus hours.
When's going to find that?
Who's going to go to these games from Oakland?
Nobody. Why would they go?
You were the one who said Oakland fans are going to go become Vegas Raiders
No,
fans.
Raider
8 hours
fans.
and 32 minutes, bro.
Okay.
Oh,
It's
my
not a
one's driving
short
from
drive.
Oakland to
God.
Vegas.
That's
No
like
one's
driving
from
from here to see Duke. It's the same thing.
I know.
It's
You
like
got-
driving me into
it's
North
a whole
Carolina.
new fan
Right.
base. It's a whole new fan base.
Sorry, Black Hole.
Yep.
You're done.
Well,
Hate to say
moving
it.
from the
That
NFL.
sucks.
Your father.
Yeah, my
Father
oh,
was a Raider
well, he's
fan.
not going to the Raider. He's not going to Raider games to begin with. So
Yeah,
he's
he'll
gonna
still be
love
a
the
Raider
Vegas
fan.
Raiders.
That's true.
I guess Raiders have a lot of fan base outside of
They
Oakland
do.
as well, probably.
NFL has that often. We could go on about that. I feel like NFL has that more than any other team.
Yeah.
But well, that's
Vegas,
the.
baby,
I think
Vegas.
that was the hot top in the NFL today. So we're gonna move over to. We got one season that's about to kick off, and then we got one season that's winding down. So why don't we
Right.
start with the season that's about to kick off? Got Major League Baseball. So last week we talked a little bit about fantasy. Well, why don't we actually talk about real life baseball now? Well, we got the season about to kick off.
Real life baseball and
We
fantasy
had
baseball.
yeah,
one and
exactly.
the
We had Yankees and Mets previews a couple
Yep.
weeks ago. So why don't we do the whole? Why don't we in turn number? We'll do the whole MLB. So why don't we start? We got to start with the AL East, right? We got to start with the Yankees, AL East.
AL East. That's the best division in baseball,
Right?
in my opinion.
same. Is it?
In my opinion, it is.
I don't know.
Well,
It looks pretty good.
let's.
It is good. Yeah.
I mean, we'll start at the top. I mean, we're in New York, so let's start with the Yankees. I mean, I know we spoke about it a couple weeks ago. 83.5 wins was the over-under. I chose over, but
chose over.
only by a little
I
bit.
chose
Only
over.
by a little bit. That division is pretty stacked. You got Boston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boston's
absolutely stacked. Yeah.
Boston's top of the rotation.
Just trade for sale.
Even
Boston-
without Price.
No, I understand that. Boston's
For a
top of
month.
the rotation. Now, assuming Price is healthy, say he comes back in May. Price, Sale, and Porcello, I mean, I don't think you're getting a better 3 than that. You get the reigning AL Cy Young.
I don't believe in Porcello, so.
He just won the Cy Young.
I don't care.
Whether you believe in him
Many
or not.
guys won Cy Young. And
Whether
then
you
fell
believe in
apart.
him or not, he's still a 3, and he just won the Cy Young.
Okay, he won the Cy Young. Congratulations to him. No, but he's good. He's good.
Okay,
but
there wasn't a pitcher better.
I don't think he's ever going to do that again. I think that was the peak of his career.
There wasn't a pitcher better in the American League.
That's what they say. But
Who's they? The
I thought
Sports Writers
Verlander should have.
Association
I
of
thought
America?
Verlander
Yeah.
should have had a better year and should have been Cy Young. But
Regardless,
Detroit. I mean, Detroit didn't make the playoffs though.
Regardless,
I don't think Cy Young should have to do with playoffs.
yeah,
Cy
Young
should be just.
I
best
mean,
pitcher.
but sometimes it does. You know what I mean?
But
That's how people think.
I agree with I do think the Red Sox are stacked. Although I'd be worried about Price.
of course, I'm assuming
Look,
he's healthy.
they came out. Yeah, they came out with saying his elbow has full range of motion. That means nothing. His elbow probably had full range of motion to begin with.
Talk to me.
He has. If he has trouble with the ligaments, which they said was okay. If he's got trouble, it comes from the shoulder. The elbows, it probably had full range of motion to begin with. Like I said, but Price is scaring me. And also, Price, does he ever really pitch good against the Yankees?
Is he a big game pitcher?
And has he ever won a playoff game?
He pitched good for Tampa when he came in.
But he's never won a playoff game. It's the most interesting pitcher. He's great. He's great. And he gets to the playoffs. He hasn't won one.
He's a workhorse.
He hasn't won one. So I'm worried about Price. But with that being said, I think the Red Sox are going to win the division.
I agree. I think the Red Sox win the East.
I think
I agree.
Porcello at a 3 is what you're looking at. I understand. I agree a little bit with you.
I know.
But you're not looking for him to duplicate that. That's why you traded for Chris Sale.
Yeah.
Right.
Eduardo Rodriguez, when he came up, he had
He's
a couple
not
of
gonna
good
be in the rotation
games.
to start, I don't think.
Well, he is
he-
with Price hurt.
Yeah.
Well, now Price are, yeah.
So now he's got a chance to prove that it wasn't a fluke. Those couple of good
what
games
about
that he had.
Pomeranz? That guy had a
Exactly.
great year last year.
So then
They have a good rotation.
they have a
They
good
have-
rotation.
they-
And what?
they
They
line up.
mash.
They line up.
They
I
mash.
can't believe I'm
They
saying
got
this.
Pedroia top of lineup. Bogart's a second. Betts, who had an unbelievable year last year.
is elite.
It's 3. You still have Hanley had a great year. Their lineup looks great.
Stacked. And it's stacked to the back, too.
Yeah.
You got Benintendi.
Benintendi, that's the guy. Yep.
I don't think he's going to be batting in the back, though.
I think he might be batting cleanup.
Let's say I don't think he should bat cleanup. He's a rookie. You know what I mean?
He's going to be in the top 4 spots.
I
That's
agree.
these projections.
You got Hanley.
Maybe 5 is the lowest.
You got Hanley if, you really want to put somebody at 4. You put Mookie at 3. You put Bogarts at 2. Pedroia at 1. Maybe you put Benintendi at 5. But, and then you still got even Pablo. Okay, Pablo Sandoval obviously hasn't been good for a while, but, if he could bat 280 for you, 285 in the back of the lineup, that's not bad, right? That's not a bad guy to have in the back of the lineup. So they have a good lineup throughout.
If he's not 600 pounds, yeah.
Yeah, he looks a little bit.
I mean, it cracks me up. These guys are professional athletes. They can't.
I told you.
He's the Kung Fu Panda.
I don't care what he is. He's just 330 pounds playing third base.
I'm tired.
What are you kidding
I'm
me?
sorry. I told you before that I flip out about that, like with Eddie Lacy. Look, I'm a physical therapist. That's as if I went to work and I forgot to be a physical therapist. It's literally your job to stay in shape the entire year. I need to stay in shape, play football, play baseball. You come to camp and you're overweight? What were you doing?
It blows
It
my
blows
mind.
my mind. Did you that Lacey has bonuses to make weight? He should just make weight. I have to give you money to lose weight to be a good running back.
That's true.
It's ridiculous.
You're right.
But
it's
Paul
horrible.
Cologne used to have a clause in his contract
Yeah.
from the Angels for the same thing.
Anyway, let's
Fat-
move on
like a
to
fat toad.
the Central. We got
Oh,
who do you got
Central?
winning
Hold on a
the East?
minute.
Who
What
do you
about
got winning the East?
Toronto?
Well, let's
Can't move on to the
let's
Central. You got Toronto.
Well, we could do each division's who's going to win it, and then the wild cards.
All
if you
right,
want.
fine.
No.
I think, but we have to touch on Toronto.
I agree.
You're
With, by the way,
Yeah,
with
They
the
won
Red
the
Sox.
division last year.
Okay, you got Red Sox winning.
We all have the Red Sox.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have the Red Sox.
Win division. Yeah, we all.
I do too. All right, so you had them?
Yeah, I agree,
All
yeah.
right. But I think Toronto, Baltimore, and the Yankees. I mean, Tampa Bay, you're lucky you win 60 games.
Wait, but Tampa Bay's got. Don't sleep on them. They got good pitching.
You think they're lucky if they win 60 games?
Oh, come
And you
on.
said don't sleep on
Don't
them.
sleep on them because they always end up having good pitching. I know their hitting's absolutely
Sleep?
horrible.
Okay.
Their hitting's horrible, but they're in a
Look
pitch,
at the division
but
they're in,
but-
though.
You got them going 59 and
But
101.
it's perfect.
You heard it here.
For Tampa Bay, it's perfect. They cater to pitching because the park is a pitcher's ballpark too, so it's perfect for them. They could end up winning some games here and there.
Who's
on their
batting
pitching.
leadoff for the Tampa Bay Rays?
Probably.
My point exactly.
Brad Miller's batting fourth. Longoria. Third.
There's your problem. Brad Miller is batting fourth.
I
The
know that's
ex-Chicago Bulls.
I
center.
agree. I
Brad
just
Miller.
said the lineup's horrible. I just said the lineup's horrible.
Shaquille O'Neal almost punched him out.
Yeah.
They traded Logan Forsythe.
I know. One of the
And
better
it was
hitters.
exactly.
Yeah, they're going to be
Exactly.
Yeah,
We have enough? I'm not saying Logan Forsythe's a
well,
bad
maybe
player.
they're rebuilding.
I don't want to spend too much
They're
time on
rebuilding.
Tampa Bay. I just want to say that Toronto, I think, is going to be very good this year. I think they're going to fight
Great.
Boston for the division. I'd like to see the Yankees.
You know what?
Toronto's pitching staff is actually very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are a couple. There's really no stud.
deep.
If Stroman, it's deep. If Stroman takes that next step where he becomes that ace, then I think they're going to be a problem. Hap, I know you guys laugh.
Solid. No, he's solid.
Guys,
I didn't laugh.
Guy's great. He won
Solid.
20 games.
I
last
never
year.
laughed.
Look,
He's awesome.
and they lost Edwin Encarnacion, but they signed Kendrys Morales.
Yes,
Who's
not
a
bad
decent
pick.
replacement? Yeah.
I think he's a
People
better than.
sleep
I
on
think
him.
he's a better than a decent replacement. I think he's a good
Well, I
replacement.
mean, you can't compare it to Edwin
I didn't say he's going to do
But
everything
yeah,
Edwin
right.
Encarnacion.
But that's a good replacement.
Yeah,
Yes.
And
100%.
And the Yankees, I mean, I know we spoke about the Yankees. Tanaka pitches well. If
do you think
Sanchez
they
and
do?
young guys develop the way they should, I think they're going to fight with Baltimore
For a second wild card.
for a second wild card. I think
Toronto gets the
Baltimore-
first.
I think Toronto gets one wild card. I mean, we can go back to that.
Okay, yeah,
The
I want to
wild
go back
card.
to.
We go
I
back
wanted
to
to
that.
go back to Walker.
Yeah.
I think the Yankees.
That's
are
why
definitely
they want to
gonna
move
do
to
well.
Central. All right, so
Central. Central, I think is pretty open and closed. I think
agree.
the Indians are a lock.
So do I.
I don't think there's even much to talk about.
I
there.
don't think you have a wild card.
I think
team
the
coming out of
Tigers
there
could give
either.
them a run for their money.
I will say I think Toronto is going to be better than what not Toronto
Detroit.
Detroit
Okay.
is better than what people expect.
Yeah.
That lineup is fantastic.
1 to 5.
1 to 5 is unbelievable.
1 to 5.
Oh,
After
wow.
that, it
Kinsler-
drops
oh,
off
yeah.
hard body.
Kinsler, Martinez, Cabrera, Martinez, and who am I missing?
Nick
Upton.
Castellanos.
Upton. Castellanos went like 320. You know when
Upton's a beast. I
Upton,
love
Upton mashes. I mean, they have
They
a
do have a good
very good lineup, and
Yep.
their rotation's good.
Yes.
And their rotation's
Fulmer, Rookie of the Year.
good.
Daniel
Fulmer,
Norris. They got
Verlander,
a couple of interesting
Zimmerman.
young guys. Yeah.
You know,
If
they're
Simmons
they're
gotta
bounce
get back to
back.
form.
Simmons got to bounce back.
yeah.
He started out like a house on fire last
Yeah.
year, and then
whatever. But he's still a guy
hurt.
who can, when
he also was
healthy, is a
pitching
good
bad
pitcher.
before he got hurt.
When healthy, he's a good pitcher.
Right.
Agreed.
When healthy, he's
So
a good
the
pitcher.
injury might have caused.
But we did talk about Encarnacion. He's now with Cleveland.
Yeah, they're
very
stacked.
reasonable deal. Only like 3 years, $60 million.
Uh,
Cleveland doesn't have that big free agent.
He's old too. That's why.
And they got Andrew Miller for a full year now. Which I gotta say, I think Francona used Miller great in the playoffs. Just bring him in whenever. Whenever
that's
the,
what he's doing
whenever
this
the
year.
most, he's not going to do it
That
this
one.
year. He's not going to do it this
No, but
year.
he's gonna use
yeah,
him as a-
your father used to always
he's
say,
a setup.
"Bring in Rivera now, bring in Rivera now,
He's not
bring in
even a
Rivera
closer.
now."
He's the setup.
For years, my father would be watching the game growing up. He can attest. This is the game right here. Bring in Rivera now. Bring in Rivera now. Like, and it would never happen. Now all of a sudden, 10 years later, and you got Francona. He's a genius. Bringing
That's
people
exactly
in
what
the
Francona
seventh,
did.
eighth.
He's coming in the fifth inning. Biggest part of the game. We need to put out the fire now. No,
I know. Now they show him on every commercial.
But you know
it's
what?
Francona's
Yeah.
Indians. Like, come on.
but you know what? He's gonna have him for a full year. That guy's filthy.
No, he's a setup man. Though.
And they got
Allen,
good,
they keep
got
as the
good
closer.
pitcher too.
All right, they bring in
Kluber,
Allen's a good
Salazar, Carrasco.
Oh my
Tomlin,
God, Kluber is
Bauer's
Kluber
is filthy.
No,
Trevor
Bauer's
Bauer
good.
is
He's not. You can't
filthy.
say filthy though.
If he puts it
He
all
caves
together,
a lot of guys, but he walks a lot of guys
I
as well.
hear
He's
you,
got a
but
problem with
that's
control.
what I said. He puts it all together.
Right, if he can
He's
put it
got
all
nasty
together.
stuff.
Because you know he could probably pitch 200 innings. He's pitched, a lot of innings last year. I think he pitched close to 190 last year or something like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But Kluber. I mean, that's possible Cy Young we're talking about. 20-game winner
Yeah, absolutely.
on this team. Yes,
I agree.
and like you said, the problem is I actually might even trust Bauer more than Salazar and Carrasco just because of the injury history.
Hey.
I mean, Carrasco's
All
always
things
get
are
hurt.
with
I feel like he's
history.
hurt right now too.
It's all things.
Right now he's hurt somewhere.
All things is
Somewhere he's hurt.
all things are
Bauer's
pending healthy.
Bauer's a little bit of a head case. Like throughout the years, I read stuff like he's not.
Oh yeah, he loses it a little bit.
Yeah. Like it's more mental than physical with him.
Yeah.
Um,
Greinke had that problem in the past.
Yeah, Greinke's up and down too.
But
So Cleveland. pretty
we
much
think
clean
Central's
sweep.
kind of
Cleveland,
open
and
close.
I think Tigers make a run for the money, but I think Tigers have a shot for the wild card. So we'll throw them in the wild card mix at the end there.
What about the West?
The West is interesting. The West is the interesting one. I would say, to be honest with you, I'm going to go Houston. I'm gonna go
I agree
Houston
with you,
on that one.
and I agree with you. I think they're finally going to put together. They got
Yeah.
a lot of young
They
guys.
got a lot of good stuff.
Talk
going
about good top of lineups. You got Springer, Altuve, Carrera, Bregman is just came up. You got guys like AJ White, who I know he came up. He struck out a little. He couldn't get a strikeout, then he came up, but he's got a lot of power at first base. I think their lineup looks really good. I know
AJ Reed. You're talking about.
AJ Reed. I thought it was AJ White. Okay, AJ Reed.
That was Tyler White.
Tyler.
Another
Okay,
guy.
AJ Reed. You talked about Dallas Keuchel.
Keuchel, I love Keuchel. Yeah.
Yeah, Keuchel's looking good.
He could be another guy, Keuchel, like you said. Who cares? He won the sideline, right? 2 years ago.
And then what happened?
I know.
Right?
That's what's funny. I'm
But
talking.
I think he's gonna bounce back. You know?
But Houston, I do like the pickups they made. I said a couple weeks ago, last week, that I think McCann's gonna have a good year with Gaddis,
right,
Beltran. But
it's a good timeshare there.
But they have a lot of older guys.
Well, yeah, Beltran, but he's a DH.
All right, but you have Beltran, Gaddis, McCann. You can't play all three of those.
Right, they're
guys.
gonna rotate.
Right, I understand that. So some of your best hitters can't play every day. I think Correa is a stud.
Yeah.
I think he looks. I saw him in the WBC. He just looked bigger. It's almost like
he's a tall shortstop.
I know, and he's a big guy.
Yeah,
he's a big guy. I mean, Altuve, he is what he is. But their pitching is, it's a little suspect.
It's a little let's
suspect.
go through the rotation. Keuchel's
Keuchel,
a solid ace.
I'd say. He didn't have a great year last year.
I know, but I still think he's a solid ace.
Keuchel, McCullers.
McCullers is a big up-and-coming pitcher.
McHugh, who I like.
McHugh's a solid 3.
Your boy, Charlie Morton. He's there now.
Charlie Morton, who looks good in spring
apparently.
training. And then you got Musgrove, right? Another young guy who's actually got great poised pitcher for a young guy. He's got great control. He's not going to blow anybody, away, but he's a good pitcher. He's a good 5 or 4 to have.
Their bullpen is good, too.
They're pretty deep.
Their bullpen's
very
too.
good.
Gregerson, Harris.
Giles could be a great closer. He could be a top 5 closer, Giles. The guy's got unbelievable stuff. Throws gas, too.
I know. That's why he's in the ninth and not Harris.
Yeah.
Harris
then they got Gregerson. Gregerson's a great setup man. He's actually a closer playing setup.
With
they have a good bullpen.
With all that being said, though,
I know
this is going to sound a little crazy.
Seattle.
Last week. Seattle.
I knew it.
Seattle.
I don't think it's that crazy.
Talk about a rotation that's got problems.
A rotation has problems, but if they put it together, now there's a few things that have to happen. Right? Hear me out here for a minute. One, Felix has to pitch like Felix,
and he will.
Okay, he's going to have to be a race. He's going to have to win his 20 games.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know about 20.
He's going to have to win 18 to 20 games. You need him there.
16, 17 maybe.
I'm telling you what needs
to happen.
Has
he
ever
won 20 games?
Yeah.
One time?
Whatever it is. He's got to get close to 20, 18,
he's
19,
got to get a lot
20.
of wins. Okay,
yeah.
I got you.
He has to be dominant.
Okay.
All right, that has to happen. I said this last week. I think Cano, he had a big year last year, almost 30 homers. I think he wins the MVP this year.
You did say
Cano's my MVP pick, and I think that their rotation after Felix, you have good guys. You have guys who aren't great, but they're not, no-name guys. Iwakuma's always decent. Paxton's
good.
Supposed to be good. Smiley looked good in the WC. So
there's potential.
There is potential. That's what I'm saying. A couple things have to come together for them to work, but I like their lineup. Segura.
Good pickup.
Seager's a good hitter.
Very consistent.
Seager's very underrated. Very underrated.
And
Cruz, you can pencil him for 40 homers.
Yeah.
And I don't, like I said, I don't love Houston.
No.
It's more than, I don't love Houston. And Texas, I know we haven't spoken about them. Texas is they're
going to be good.
Team who's always good, especially, with Darvish now fully healthy and stuff. But, again, their bullpen is a little shaky.
Houston got Beltran, too. Talk about Texas, just remind me. Houston's got Beltran.
No, I know, I said that. Because you had Beltran.
Which is the guy you had in the lineup, yeah.
By the way,
think their lineup's a little deeper than
Felix never won 20 games.
What's his height?
19.
19.
But the last few years, I don't think he's really
he won 18 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Last year, he won 11 and 8.
18.
Yeah, last year had a very, very
well,
down
he
year.
also didn't pitch a full year.
He had a down year.
11 and 8.
Texas, they have a very good lineup. Napoli.
Throughout, yeah.
They're deep. They're deep.
Their rotation,
Darvish and Hamels are excellent.
Yeah.
They're
Darvish
excellent.
is injury prone, though. Obviously.
Seattle is definitely going to be a long shot, but I'm going out on a limb. We'll see what happens. I'll talk to you.
I know.
I'll talk to you in October.
It's not a bad. What
do you got?
Prediction.
I said Houston too.
Houston, both of you, Houston.
Yep.
Yeah. And for the wild cards,
so we said
cap it off.
I think they both come from the East. I got Toronto and Baltimore.
Toronto and Baltimore.
Again,
we didn't really talk about Baltimore much.
Again, I think they both come from the East.
You like their rotation? They're
I think Gausman is better. Mm-hmm. I think he had a good second half of the year. I think he's going to get better. I mean, they had the best closer in the league last year. Britton was.
He was the closest thing to Rivera since Rivera was in his prime.
Yeah.
He threw one pitch.
Well, Gagne
90% of the time. But I'm talking. Right. I mean, I'm talking about
dominating with a pitch.
Yeah, dominating with one pitch. He threw something like 92% of the time, and his ball moves all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It drops this much. You know what I
He's
mean?
disgusting.
He was filthy.
Well, he's
And
supposed
he
to be a
first
starter
gas.
too. When they convert those starters, a lot of
I
times.
tell you, the team that competes with Baltimore for a wild card. Well, I think because I think your pick for the West isn't a bad team.
No,
I
it's
think
not.
Seattle could make a run for that second wild card if Baltimore falters or anything like that. Because I do agree with you. I do think Seattle has the makings of a good year.
Yeah.
A little bit of a
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to say bounce back, but up and coming year. I just think Houston's going to be.
Seattle won 86
I
games
just
last
think
year.
Houston's going to be better.
I mean, it's a
That's all
long.
it comes out. I think Houston's going to be better.
Right. I think it's a stronger team overall.
It's a long season. So you're gonna go with Baltimore.
I'm going to go with
Toronto.
Baltimore and
Toronto,
Toronto. I got to
but
pick
Seattle in the mix.
Baltimore and Toronto. Absolutely.
Seattle in the
Seattle and Detroit in the mix. Seattle, a legit contender to take that spot. But if I had to pick one right now, I go Toronto and Baltimore.
Okay. Did you do wild card?
No, go ahead.
All right. I think for me, I don't think Baltimore. I think Toronto. I think Detroit and Texas. All three of those teams are going to be fighting for a wild card to the very end.
Who are your two, though?
If I was to pick two,
Gun to your head.
gun to my head, pick two. Toronto, Texas.
Toronto and Texas.
Toronto and Texas.
I'll keep it quick. Toronto, Detroit. Toronto, Detroit. I said Detroit.
You
I
did
like
say
them.
Detroit.
And I said
They'll be in the mix.
I said the Yankees over 83.5.
Mm-hmm.
So if they get to 85, 86 wins, they're going to be in the mix too.
True.
I
You got-
think Baltimore finished in fourth place.
You
this
got
year.
Cano winning the MVP. Who do you think's going to win the AL MVP?
AL MVP.
Off the top
I don't want to say Trout,
You could say
I
Trout.
mean, why not?
I'm going to say
But
Mookie.
that's
I'm going
the
to say
safe-
Mookie Betts.
That's a good one.
We got him win the East. He's batting third now. He's going to gobble up all his RBIs that I think that Ortiz had.
You're high in Houston. What about your boy Altuve? Think you get some MVP votes this year?
Possibly. The problem is, a lot of the MVP goes to like more of the power hitting players. I feel like a lot of the times, but I might even go Francisco Lindor. I think he might have a big time breakout year. He's batting third in that Cleveland lineup. That lineup's stacked. His counting numbers are going to be high. I think he's going to score 125 runs
Okay. All right.
and steal probably 30 bags, something like that. Maybe 20 homers.
So we'll switch it up a little. I'll kick it to you. National League.
Oh.
I'm going to kick it to you. What do you think
Kick
there,
it to him.
Mr. Host? National League East.
I don't know where to go from there. No. We talked about the Mets, and it's going to be. I mean, we got a 2-team race going with the Mets and Washington. Mm-hmm. And we talked about last week. The Mets have 32 of their first 32 games are against divisional opponents.
Yeah.
So I was going to say a lot about division race.
Can't believe they did that.
You better come out of the gate hot.
They better. I think they're going to be right neck and neck. I'm going to take the Mets a little bit more than Washington this year. I think they're both really good, obviously. I do think the Mets are going to pass Washington this year for it. I think with all the pitching, with all the pitching that they have, I know it's a big if.
Let's
He couldn't talk into the mic.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
There it was.
You know what?
Let's stick on the Mets.
You know what?
Next 2
Actually,
minutes at least.
I take it back.
Can we-
Washington's going to blow out the
Beat
Mets.
the
They don't have a
Mets.
shit now.
Stay in the control room, all right? Speak when spoken to.
I knew it was coming.
You will listen to every damn word I have to say.
That's enough for you.
All right. I do think. I know it's boring that they stay healthy, but the pitching looks.
Eventually they gotta
Wheeler
stay
looks
healthy,
great
right?
in spring. Wheeler looks great in spring training. We talked about who the most important guys are. I know Harvey doesn't look that great. I'm still holding on to Harvey having
I know,
a good
you
year.
are holding on to Harvey. He
I'm
doesn't.
not going to go back on just because of spring training.
Absolutely. No, I agree.
Syndergaard, I mean, he's at the top of the rotation. DeGrom, it could be a number 1 in most places. He's your number 2. The pitching's just too good. I think the pitching is going to carry
And the
them to win.
offense,
I think
it's going to be good enough.
I think the offense is going to be.
Don't
the offense is
jinx
gonna be, I think I'm going to stop talking about them now. If I talk about it enough, they'll all get hurt.
Yeah, probably.
I think Cespedes is going to have another good year. I know Wynn is very, very down on Jay Bruce. I think Jay Bruce is going to be good in that lineup. You got Reyes at the top lineup for a whole year. Neil Walker didn't have a terrible year for them last
Walker
year.
was good.
It was the best year of his career.
Walker was good for them. Cabrera wasn't that bad. I know they got a prospect coming up at shortstop that you like.
Rosario.
If Conforto can get it together, Conforto's a good hitter. in
I
the
like
So you
outfield.
like the Mets. You're going with the Mets.
I'm going with the Mets over the Nationals. Even though the Nationals, I mean, they're my wild card. I mean, hands down, they're going to be my wild card.
Yeah.
Mets and Nationals.
That's tough, but I'm going to go Mets.
Really?
That's that.
Yeah, that's that.
Well,
No analysts. Okay.
No, I don't.
I'm going Nationals.
Okay.
The Marlins, Phillies, and Braves.
Trash.
Don't even talk about
I
that.
actually-
Wait, I'm going to have a word with you after this.
Although,
Searching for some new talent on Bridgeside Sports.
listen, I got to speak from the heart, man. I got
Too many Yankee fans on this set.
Yankee
true,
fans.
actually.
None of us picked the Yankees. I mean, come on.
That's true.
None of us picked the
did.
Yankees.
You
and-
said they're
and-
going to fight for the wild
and
card.
I just
So does
don't.
Phil think.
I don't
Yeah,
think the
definitely
Mets.
gonna fight
I
for the
don't
wild
think the Mets pitching is going to stay healthy. If they do, then they win the division.
I have a
Oh,
question.
okay.
If
I
you
have
get
a question.
one
Oh,
second,
question from the
If
producer.
you get 30 starts from Harvey and Matz, if you get 50 between the two, then you probably win the division. But I don't think it's happening. Go with your question.
2 questions.
2. You said 1.
Two now.
I'm the producer. I can have as many questions as I want.
All right, go for it.
Do you think David Wright will play 85 games?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely
Hard
not.
under.
Absolutely. He might not even
That's
play
coming
10.
from a physical therapist.
All right.
I've actually kind of.
He might not play 10, Paul.
Very true.
He might not play
question.
10.
Next question. Do you think if the Mets are under 500 at the start of the second half of the season, do you think Terry Collins' job is in very much jeopardy?
No.
It's a
Nope.
better question than the first one.
That's a very good question. It depends if they're
I don't
healthy
think
or
so.
not. If the Mets, if everybody's hurt again and they're lingering around 500,
You
then
said halfway through
probably
the season?
No, after the All-Star break. If they're lingering
yeah.
around 500 after the All-Star break, and you got guys hurt, and he did a good job last year.
Yeah.
Then no, I don't think so. But if everybody's healthy and they're not playing well, then yeah, I think so. And I'll tell you what, if the Mets aren't winning, come the All-Star break, and the Mets are under 500 or something,
They're not going to fire him, though.
no, it's fine. You might see the Mets sell a couple guys. They
That's
have
what I
all
thought
of
your
the
question was
starting
gonna be.
pitching. They
That's
have
what I thought
all
your
the
question-
starting pitching. You might see.
Who would you think gets sold?
You're not going to go DeGrom and Syndergaard.
They
I
got to
wouldn't
sell
think.
Bruce again. That's what they should do.
Nobody's buying Jay Bruce.
I don't know why they got. The more I think about it, the more I think
the two big, but the two
Hey,
biggest,
yeah, Bruce.
the
no,
two
he'd be
big.
perfect for Yankee Stadium. or
But he
something,
can't
you know?
play in Yankee Stadium. Wynn told us.
I know.
The two biggest markets that you could sell to, he doesn't want to play for.
I know.
So, but I thought that was going to be his question. If they're under 500, I could see them selling. I could see them doing that
Yeah,
more
I
than
think so.
Collins being fired.
How much though? Like selling all the way? Like
Because
I don't know about
you're
selling
gonna
away,
look.
but you're going to get a good
How much
return.
How long are you gonna keep those guys for? If you don't win again this year, these guys are cheap right now.
they're all young too.
They're
though.
cheap right now, and
DeGrom's
in two,
young.
In two,
Syndergaard's
no, he's
young.
DeGrom's like 29 years old.
28,
Oh, thank you. 1 year younger than what I said.
27, 28. That's not old.
He's
That's
tw-
not old though.
Yeah, but you're
Still in
talking
his
about in a
prime.
couple. You're talking about in a couple
He's not
years.
talking about prime. He's talking about how much they're going
Of
to
course.
You cannot pay Syndergaard,
That's
DeGrom,
what-
Harvey, and Matz if they're all supposed to be.
So,
Harvey's
well,
gonna
you're
be
talking about when DeGrom becomes a free agent. If he's a 30 or 31-year-old pitcher,
Right.
you're going to give him 7 years? Or these guys, that's what they're going to try to command.
well-
in 2 years, Harvey's going to get a lot of money. DeGrom's going to get a limit. You're going to have to pick who you're going to give all this money to.
Syndergaard, he's got to be under arbitration for a little while.
Yes,
right?
Brian said, but they're not going to be on arbitration forever.
Right.
So that's why you got to sell. Harvey's the first
But
guy off.
It's the only you're talking
These
about
are
right
the
now.
yes.
maybe
These
a
are
couple
the
years from
yeah.
now.
These are the times you have to
don't-
win, though.
Hold on a second.
No,
I don't-
they should win absolutely.
So I think you sell if that happens.
But I think I still think they might be
They're
a
not selling.
year removed from winning because let me explain why. The lineup needs adjustments. Bruce has to go. The more I think about it, the Bruce deal was the dumbest thing. Just because they were trying to get LaCroix, really. They wanted to get LaCroix, and Texas ended up getting Jonathan LaCroix. That would have been a great pickup for them because they need a catcher, kind of.
Dono's horrible too.
He's a bad defensive
He's
third.
garbage.
And DeGrom's gonna be
He's a
29
good
this year.
analyst. Garbage.
So he's 28, like I said.
It'll be 29 in 2 months.
Oh, 2 months.
months.
But he's 28, though. That's what I'm saying. But anyway,
It's a big difference.
It's
You're
a huge
big
difference.
difference between 29 and 28.
I don't think so. But
That's what I'm saying.
Come on,
okay.
get to the point.
Anyway, I'm trying. What was I trying to say? Okay, LaCroix. They didn't get him, so they get Bruce just to make up for it, right? Now feels like
I don't know, just
but
to
they
make
got
up for it.
Yeah, but it was because you got Conforto, you got the kid Brandon Nemo, who I like too. They got outfield depth.
Brandon
Lagares, who's a great defender, you can put him in center.
He hits 210.
You already have guys like Bruce, Neil Walker. You have Curtis Granderson. You have all these other guys that are just like him. Why did they get him? It just doesn't make sense. Eventually, they have to bring these young guys up. You got to bring up Rosario. You got to bring up Dominic Smith, who plays first, because dude is going to be a bust eventually. I don't think he's that good. He's just like the rest of them. You need to get that up there, and then the team will be good. Maybe a year from now. Not right now, though. Or if Collins
Well, you got them
decides to do
winning the
now.
division. How can you say not right now? You just said they're going to win 90 games.
I said they're going to win the division, but that doesn't mean
So
they're
that
gonna
doesn't
rule
mean
World
they're
Series.
good?
Doesn't mean they're going to rule World Series.
Chris, if a team wins the division, they're a good team. What are you talking about?
I'm saying they're a year removed from winning the World Series.
So you got them win the World Series
They
next
were
year.
time out. They were in the World Series
If-
2 years.
if they do
they
the
were
right
in the
things,
World
yeah.
Series 2 years ago.
Right.
You got them winning the division this year, but they're not good enough to go back to the World Series.
I don't think so.
You don't make
I
any
don't
sense.
think. I don't think their lineup is good enough. I think if they face Bumgarner again,
Their
they face
lineup's
that San
1,000
Francisco team. I think they'll
times
be-
better now than when it was when they went to the World Series.
I don't know. We'll see.
They're gonna have
We'll
sense-
see.
I don't know. You added Reyes, Walker, and Bruce.
I like Reyes. Yeah.
I bet you added those 3 guys from the World Series.
I think Walker.
Who did you lose?
So
Walker's good. Walker's
I don't
good.
think he's that good at all.
All right, so let's move
go.
on. I'm gonna
I think
go-
the Central
like I
is
said,
another shut and close.
Nationals in my division. The
Yeah.
only thing, Sean Kelly. I don't know if he's going to last as their closer.
Yeah, they
That's
don't
the
really
only-
have a
That's the only
closer. They need to
question
pick
mark.
up a closer.
I
That's the
think
only
the
question mark.
Central is going to know the open and close division. Can we agree with
yeah.
Chicago Cubs winning that division?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's open and close. They're going to win over definitely again 100.
You know what?
games.
Everyone's been
105
talking.
games.
Everyone's been talking ad nauseum about the Cubs. They won for the first time 100 bazillion
Yeah,
years.
the Reds and Brewers are usually horrible.
Yeah.
They're not going to be very good this
Yeah,
year.
they're going to be bad. Pirates and Cardinals might be decent.
Pirates and Cardinals are always pretty decent. I mean, the last couple of years, McCutchen had a down year last year. I think he'll bounce back a little bit.
And Cole's going to bounce back.
Cole,
Yeah,
Nova
we talked
pitched
about
well
Cole. I agree.
towards the end of the year with that team. They lost Melanson
San Francisco,
to San Francisco.
who blew the most amount of games in the MLB last
was
year,
unbelievable.
and it was unbelievable how
was
many games
ridiculous.
they blew
It was ridiculous.
after the 8th inning. It was Casilla just. I mean, he just.
Yeah.
Then Romo came back. Sergio Romo
Sergio
came
Romo.
back.
Romo came back.
And he had a problem. That's why they fell apart. And then
So now they got solidified their closest spot.
Yeah, they got
Melanson.
Melanson,
Solid.
yeah.
Very solid.
All right.
closer.
I mean, the Cubs.
I think
don't-
the
we
Cubs
don't have
take
to talk
the
about the
division.
Cubs.
I think the Cubs take the
right?
division.
Clean sweep.
Clean
Cubs.
sweep.
I think St. Louis does play well, though.
They're still going to be 10 games
They're
behind by the end of it.
yeah, but that leaves them in the open door for the wild card. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
at
it
the
does.
end.
It does.
But they always play good. Let's
Right.
be honest with St. Louis.
Yes.
So let's move on to the
They're
West.
a great
then.
franchise.
Let's move on to the West.
Padres are the
The
worst
what?
team in baseball.
This is the division.
Who
that
do you got
I would
Padres
say
with?
rivals
Who's winning? Who's winning more games? Padres or Tampa Bay Rays? Real quick.
Tampa Bay.
That's a horrible question.
Tampa Bay. Padres are absolutely awful.
God.
Absolutely awful.
I'm actually gonna go with San Diego.
That's
Not
crazy.
even. What do you mean that's crazy?
They
They're in
have
a,
all minor leaguers, and their rotation isn't even a rotation. It's a rotation of a bullpen.
That's a good point, but look what the Rays have to play every week. Granted, they have to play the Dodgers. Actually,
But the Rays have
That's a
decent
really good
pitching. They have
question.
Archer and Odorizzi, and they got good guys.
all right. You know what? I'll take Tampa Bay. He's right. I'll take Tampa Bay.
So you got Tampa Bay not sniffing 60 games. San Diego, you're gonna have the worst.
They win
season.
32.
San Diego, you're gonna have the worst season of all time.
One of
anyway.
them, yeah, probably.
So the West. Out in the West, we talked about the bottom of the division. Let's talk about the top of the division.
This is the division.
Yangavar Solarte is batting fourth on the Padres.
Who's that?
Solarte.
I know.
Ex-
And he hits like
ex-Yankee great, right?
and he hits like 13 to 15 homers.
He's batting fourth.
He's batting fourth.
All right.
in Petco.
I'm looking at their project. I don't know why I'm talking.
Well, they got
San
that
Diego
guy Hunter
Padres.
Renfro, who's got. a
Yeah,
lot of
you know
power.
what? I
right,
apologize for this. I opened the door way too much. for
sorry
San
to
Diego
the
Padres.
viewers.
Can we please get
question
to the
you
top
asked
of
me
the division?
before?
Yes.
You said you wouldn't say. Would you say the AL East is the best division in baseball? You asked me.
Absolutely.
And I said I think the one division that rivals it is this division. Besides San Diego, if San Diego wasn't in this division, you put even a mediocre team in this
Right.
division,
All
it
right,
might
well,
be the
they'll-
best division.
well,
But
both
they're
have a
on
bad
par
team.
with Tampa Bay. I think.
which
Right,
is
that's what I'm
horrible.
saying. They're the bottom, the
five,
cellar of a
yeah,
division.
cellar of the league.
And I think the NL West, you have your two powerhouse. You have the Giants and the Dodgers.
Right.
I think one wins the division and one wins. One
gets in the wild card, right?
Right. I think we can all agree on that. I think that
Actually, I'm going to make my outlandish pick of the year right now.
I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Arizona wins the division.
Wow, I wasn't
I
expecting
thought
that.
I thought he was going to say Colorado.
Me
So
too.
the outlandish.
No, Colorado. Because Colorado, the problem with Colorado is the pitching. It just can never be good, no matter who you got. I like the guy John Gray a lot, their ace, but it
like
doesn't matter.
Chatwood.
What, is
Chatwood,
it
yeah, Chatwood's decent too.
Anderson, is it? Tyler
Anderson, Tyler Chatwood, John Gray. Their pitches are mediocre, though, or a little slightly above average maybe, but in that
Are they
ballpark,
mediocre though, or is it because are they mediocre in that?
That's
park?
the question. But
It's like the chicken and the egg.
right,
You really
and that's
can't
the
figure it
problem.
out.
You're never going to know because they're going to get shelled probably in Colorado. But their offense is unbelievable. I'd say their lineup rivals that
ridiculous.
of anybody's.
It's ridiculous. Their top
Red
five
Sox,
is
Blue
ridiculous.
Jays, whoever it is,
Yeah.
it rivals, right?
Yeah.
Even
Granted,
all the way to 8 almost.
Their numbers, are slightly inflated.
And it's
you gotta
skewed.
say.
Yeah, it's skewed.
They're a little skewed,
But still.
I mean, I think Arenado's the best
LeMahieu,
third baseman in
Arenado,
baseball.
you got Carlos Gonzalez, you got
Who is-
Charlie Blackmon. You're talking about premier guys. Those three right there.
Gonzalez's swing is unbelievable. One of the nicest.
I
swings
love
in
Carlos.
baseball.
He's my favorite player in
Smooth,
baseball.
boom.
Favorite player in baseball.
Why don't
Yeah,
you
he's
keep
been
him?
my favorite player for years.
Why don't you keep him? Did you have him last year?
2 years ago I had him.
You didn't have him last year?
No, last year I didn't have him. 2 years ago, I had him.
Cargo. Yeah, they have a great lineup, but their pitching's awful.
That's the problem.
They're going to hover around 500, but I think they'll be competitive. They're
They'll
not going to be a team you see.
Right. That's why I didn't pick them. Why I picked the Diamondbacks. I was looking at the Diamondbacks. I was like, wow, this team's really interesting. They're really. If you take a look at them one day, sit down and look at them. They're a very interesting team. They could be really, really good. They have the potential to be really damn good. They have a deep rotation. Archie Bradley's not even in the rotation. That guy's a pretty decent pitcher.
He was supposed to be good 10 years
ago.
ago.
No.
What do you mean?
He's 26 years old.
I don't care how old.
He's still a prospect. I'm sorry.
I
don't care how old he is. He was supposed to be good.
I know.
I remember looking him up
3 or 4 years
fantasy
ago.
4 years ago.
Yeah, but that's what happened with pitchers. Gossman was supposed to be good 3 or 4 years ago. Look at him now.
I understand, but
so
Robbie
but
Ray,
listen to this
Walker.
rotation.
I like Robbie Ray.
Robbie Ray K's a lot of guys, but he's got problems with the control. Similar to what we were saying about Trevor Bauer. But he K's a ton of people.
Right.
He's one of the league leaders. But you got Greinke, who I think is going to have a bounce back. It was his first year in Arizona. He had to get used to everything.
Yeah.
Now I think he's going to have a nice bounce back because Greinke is a workhorse dog who's going to pitch 220 innings probably.
Can I say something on that? I actually read a stat the other day about Greinke. When the roof was closed, you heard that? When the roof was closed, his numbers were ridiculous.
Yeah.
Much better.
Excellent numbers.
Yeah.
When the roof was open,
his
ERA was like 5. Yeah. Now, I don't know if that's maybe I'm wrong. Is that a thing in Major League Baseball where you have to keep it open or closed?
I don't know if there's a regulation for it.
I don't know either. But if that's the case, I don't
close
understand
it every time
how
he
it's,
pitches.
how it's not closed.
I'll ask you a question about Robbie Ray. How many pitchers do you think had a better K per 9 innings in the second half of the season than Robbie Ray?
I'm going to say probably no one.
The fact you're bringing it up, 2.
No one.
No one, wow.
Because he had like 174 innings, I think, and like 217 Ks.
The second half of the season, nobody.
He had an unbelievable amount.
You
know who else?
I think it was about 14 Ks per 9.
Pineda rivaled him.
I think it was about 14 Ks per 9, Robbie Ray.
Pineda had over 200 Ks. He only pitched like 177.
Pineda's ball moves all over the place. It's like a wiffle ball.
I know, but then
the only problem is 2 pitches.
But anyway,
but then he gets to 2 strikes and he walks everybody. But I don't want to.
Anyway, let's not get into Pineda and the Yankees. Greinke, you got Greinke 1. Who's the 2? I'm drawing a blank. Not Ray. Oh, Walker. Great pickup. I think this is the year he breaks out and has a really good year. He looked great in spring, too. He's a really highly touted guy. Another one of those guys you said for years. Mm-hmm. Then you got Ray, and then you got Corbin, who was good a couple of years ago. Yeah. Maybe he bounces back. He's a decent pitcher. It's a good number 4 or 5. And Shelby Miller.
Who the Braves traded.
Who's a great 5.
I know. It's a great 5. They traded the number 1 pick for him, and now we're talking about he's a great 5. I don't mean to laugh. That was one. That could go down as one of the worst trades in baseball.
Well, we don't know.
We don't know if
I said it could.
That's a long way.
Come on, there's
a
word could.
Am I wrong? Is that not a good rotation, possibly?
I agree.
Okay.
And the lineup's very good, too.
I don't have them win the division, though.
Right, I know. That's an outlandish pick. I'm making an outlandish pick.
I don't think it's outlandish. You made it.
It's
pretty
outlandish.
You presented a pretty good case for it. I just disagree with you.
Okay.
And I'm going to go.
I didn't want to be safe on this one. I like Arizona.
You like to live dangerously.
I have a feeling,
Seattle. I'm going Los Angeles.
Actually a little bit more
LA?
LA. I think LA is going to win. I think LA is going to win the division.
They won it last year.
I think it's going to be a great race between LA and the Giants, though. But I do think LA takes it. You can have They played so well with Kershaw missing such a chunk of the year. It's like picking him up for another half of the year, and he's the best pitcher in the league. No questions asked.
Well, not by far, maybe.
No, I think you could say by far.
Yeah.
What do you have? Before he got hurt, did he have something where he had like 4 walks?
Yeah,
and like
his whip was like 0.7.
It's always,
It is
something
by far.
Silly.
It's something ridiculous.
Something silly.
I think that he's.
But then what about the rest of the rotation?
Rich Hill.
But he's going to get hurt. So
I hear you, but you're talking about...
Maeda wasn't bad last year.
Made's good. I agree. He's a good number 2. He's good
supposed to be good. Young guy coming up.
I know, but he's not going to be an impactful guy this year, I don't think.
I hear you, but he's supposed to have this filthy stuff. I remember he came to the beginning of last year when they played the Mets and this and that.
Hyun-Jin Ryu is basically dead. The guy's been gone for 2 years. God forbid. Well, but I'm saying, you know what I mean?
Not Ryu.
You're joking.
Alex Wood. He's herky-jerk.
I'm so tired of him.
Herky-jerk lefty, very deceiving.
That's how I feel about Archie Bradley.
But Wood even longer. Woods have so much time.
But he's actually put up good numbers, though. Mm-hmm. Woods actually had some good numbers.
He did.
I think, like we said, the Giants and Dodgers they're going to fight for that division. I think, though, the Giants win the division.
Nice. We all have a different division pick there.
Yeah, I just think...
Talk about Logan Forsythe. He went to the Dodgers.
Yes, he did.
I think their rotation is just too strong, the Giants. And I think that's the difference between the Giants and the Dodgers. Bumgarner and Kershaw. You want to call them 1 and 1A. You give
Right,
it slightly edge to Kershaw.
More than slight. Okay.
Oh, you want to say more than slight, but give me a big game. I'll take
That's
Bumgarner any day of the week.
That's,
I agree.
That's okay.
He's
No one's
probably
gonna
the best
disagree with
big
that.
game pitcher that we've ever seen.
I agree with you
at this
there.
point.
No,
right?
He would have
Maybe
pitched.
Smoltz.
He would have
No,
pitched
what
19
about
innings against the
Maddox?
Mets.
I'm talking about big game pitcher.
agree.
Syndergaard.
I agree.
Syndergaard. Bumgarner's put up numbers that are video game.
I agree. Bumgarner would have pitched
You know?
19 innings against the Mets if it went that far. They
total-
couldn't touch him.
The
They
total in
couldn't
that
touch
game
him.
last year was 6.
They could not
Six
touch
and a
him.
half.
They could
The playoff
not touch
game.
him.
Well, you know,
That
the
playoff
Mets aren't
game.
no Boston Red Sox lineup or anything
Still.
like that. But
Well, Adrian
All right.
Gonzalez at first base for the Dodgers. Come on.
No, that's my boy.
That's
I know
your boy
he's
right
an
there.
idiot. But Bumgarner, Cueto's
unbelievable.
Samardzija.
Matt Moore.
I like Matt Moore.
I like Matt Moore too.
I like Matt Moore.
I
And
think
what
everyone
happened?
does.
What happened to Matt Cain?
He's done.
Matt Cain and Tim Lincecum.
He's not even that old, but he's done.
What happened to these guys? They were dominant stud pitchers on the Giants.
Well, Lincecum was a product of, after a while, he just, his velocity went down and he just burnt out. That was it.
But
He
how
didn't
does that
adjust.
happen,
He didn't
though?
adjust. It happened to Verlander. It happens to everybody as they get older,
But he's still
You have to
relatively young.
adjust.
Kane is young, too. These
He's
are guys who just kind of fell off the face of the earth. Not fell off the face of the earth, but they're never close, not a shell of what they
Kane
were.
was really good for a while.
I don't want to say it's Houston, but maybe. I don't know.
Juice.
I don't know.
A lot of
It
those
just,
guys come from
it just
Houston.
Here's
doesn't
the problem-
make sense.
Here's the problem with San Francisco, though, is the lineup, I think, is just so blasé.
Isn't it always though?
Their
It
lineup's
always
good.
is, but
When they
that's
win
why
the
they're
World
always-
Series.
But that's why they're always fighting for a
Yeah,
wild card.
and
They
then
never
they
win
win
the
the World-
division.
and then they win
It's
the
because
World
of their
Series.
lineup.
And then they win the
You know
World
that.
Series.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll win the World Series once they get there. But are they going to get there this year?
won't.
That
I know.
division's tough. I'm telling you. That
Once
division's
they
going to be
get
tough
there,
on them.
talk to a Met fan. They kill to be a Giant fan. Are you kidding me?
I know,
Once
but
they got 3 rings.
Absolutely, and I agree. Once you get to the playoffs, pitching does dominate. That's the truth about baseball. Once you get to the
when
playoffs,
you have
pitching
somebody
dominates.
like Bumgarner,
But you got to get there, and they will probably fight to get there. But the thing is, they're never going to win the division just because they don't have the firepower on offense.
So
It's going to be too
so
hard
you
for
got
them to win that
Arizona.
many games.
So you got Arizona. I got Los Angeles. You have the Giants.
Yep.
So we're all different. Who's your wild card? We got to wrap this up quickly.
So I have Diamondbacks, Cubs, Mets. Wild card's going to be between Washington.
Give me 2. Don't give me 3.
Washington's one, and the other one will be the Dodgers.
I was battling back and forth between these, but I'm going to go San Francisco winning the division, the Dodgers, and the New York Mets as a wild card.
Okay, I got Nationals and the Giants as well.
Okay, and World Series predictions? Cleveland and who do you got coming out of the NL?
Cubs.
I'm going to say the Giants.
Giants?
Cubs.
Cubs? I'm going Giants too, actually. I'm going Giants too. Giants, Indians World Series, and I'm going Giants, World Series champions.
You know what? I'm going to give it to Cleveland. I think they'll
You're going
finally
Cleveland
go over the
Giants?
hump.
You did
Yeah.
Cleveland
I
Giants too?
went Cleveland Giants too.
I'm going to do Cubs. Cubs Sox.
Who you got winning?
Cubs again.
Oh,
2 times back to back.
Imagine.
all right.
That
All right.
town.
You heard it
would be
here.
in-
Cubs
After a 100-year drought.
after a 100
2 in a
plus
row.
year drop.
How
2
great
in a
would
row.
that be?
And then the world will implode. And then that's what's. But that's all. That's. I think. Oh, we forgot NL MVP. Real quick.
Real quick, Bryce Harper.
No Cy Young.
We didn't do AL Cy Young, so
Chris Bryant.
Chris Bryant. I'm going Bryce Harper. He's gonna mash the hell out of the ball this year. I
Think
think.
so?
I think he's gonna come back strong.
I think Harper.
But-
Bryce Harper.
That's all we got for today. Thanks everyone for listening in, for having us on your computer, tablet, laptop, living room, wherever you were.
Wherever you are.
Remember, tomorrow we got another great Bridgeside live production. We got Sabertooth Trio coming live to you right here, right in the studio at Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. Another great set. Please tune in for it. And don't forget us next week, Monday, 9 o'clock, Bridgeside Sports. Saying good night, everybody.